Tim Bradley airs out Gervonta Tank Davis. Calls him a piece of says he hopes Ryan Garcia K.Os him. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, so the big homie, former welterweight champion Timothy Bradley is into it with Gervonta Tank Davis. What is going on in the boxing world? Why are these two guys beefing? Well, apparently they've been having some type of Twitter war, and I don't think Gervonta Tank Davis has taken well to Tim Bradley's criticism of him. I think Tim Bradley, he doesn't like the way that Gervonta Tank Davis carries himself as a fighter, the way he does business, and his all-around attitude as a person. When you think back to Tim Bradley as a fighter, he's a no-nonsense type of guy. You know, even though I don't think he was the best welterweight ever, you got to give him credit for becoming a champion, even though, you know, how he became a champion was extremely shady, the Pacquiao situation. And when you put him in with higher level competition, you could tell that he was a few steps behind a guy like Pacquiao. You know, Pacquiao put it on him several times. He got cheated once, but he did put it on him several times. So, you know, even though Tim Bradley might not have been the best fighter ever, he's a guy sort of like, he's a slightly better version of George Kambosos. Put it that way, because I think George Kambosos is a great fighter, but he's missing some things in his technique. Same thing goes for Tim Bradley. He was a heck of a fighter, but he was missing a few things in his technique that he never really established throughout his career. Now, take nothing away from Tim Bradley. I'm going to say one thing about Bradley. Even though I might feel a way about Bradley because of the Pacquiao situation, Bradley versus Provodnikov was one of the greatest fights in history. Let me repeat that. Timothy Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov is one of the greatest fights in boxing history. If you haven't watched that fight, you take your butt off this video after it's done, and then you go watch Bradley versus Provodnikov, because I think you'll see some of the greatest brawling fighters to ever step in the ring. You know, on the level of guys like Rocky Marciano when it comes to that specific fight. It was an all-out, knockout, drag-out war, Jack Dempsey type of fight. And you got to give Timothy Bradley credit for having a fight like that on his record. He didn't have to face up with Ruslan. He could have took some easier competition, but he took on Ruslan. And one side note about that fight, I think Ruslan won. I think he won by 1 point. You know, that was an extremely close fight. Both guys gave it their all and even more. And if you haven't watched that, once again, go check that out. Now, apparently this Twitter war between Davis and Bradley is starting to heat up, because they're starting to exchange insults now. You know, apparently Tim Bradley wasn't responding as much to Gervonta Tank Davis when he would lash out on Bradley. But now Bradley is starting to come back and try to give Gervonta Tank Davis something to think about, because Gervonta Tank Davis compared Bradley to the old guy trying to hate. And, you know, I hate that adage, or, you know, I hate when people use that, because when somebody's trying to give you wisdom, you know, accept the wisdom. It's not always hate. It's they're trying to pass on some knowledge you might not know, and you might be younger with more talent and, you know, more money, but your greatest asset in life is going to be your ability to listen before you speak. And I think Gervonta Davis is extremely talented. Gervonta Davis got all the boxing skills and money in the world, and his only downfall could be him not listening when people are trying to point something out to him. Now, I don't know what Bradley originally said about him to start all this, but obviously he said something in a critique that Gervonta Davis didn't take well, whether it was real hate or whether it was, you know, an older guy trying to give a younger guy some advice so you don't make the same mistakes. Now, Gervonta Davis is way further along in his career than Tim Bradley was at that point, but I think Bradley might have been a champion by then already. So, you know, maybe there's something he could offer Gervonta Tank Davis. They're similar, you know. Bradley was a shorter fighter, stocky guy. His physique, you know, there's something in the way he trained and the way he chiseled his physique that every human being could take from. If you go back and look at Bradley's body and the way he built it, and the way his trainers use his vegan diet to build his body during training, is almost unhuman. I just think he lacked one or two things when it comes to his boxing abilities that never got him completely over that hump. Look, if you put a steady jab on Tim Bradley, he would have been a champion for longer because he had all the fight skills. But if he took and slowed down that fight skill sometimes and used his ring IQ and natural boxing talent, I think he would have had more longevity in his career. But give Bradley credit for making it to where he did. And, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis got to take everything that an older guy tells you with a grain of salt. You know, it's not always hate. It's just passing on knowledge. You know, when somebody's older than you, they've been through things that you might not have gone through yet. You know, they've been through certain situations you might not have come up in your life yet, but eventually those situations might come up, and then you might look back on, man, he might have gave me some advice to make me avoid this situation, and if I would have just listened, I wouldn't even went through that. But when you approach everything with a I'm going to speak mentality, you're not listening, and you can't learn without listening. I'm going to leave it there. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there. And we are live.
Chill with a freak, yeah, I'm no gangster. But I know players that'll run in your crib like Cosmo Kramer. But it ain't a sitcom, a nigga spit bombs. I hope you're coming for war, I'm coming with Nam. Viacom, even the realest niggas sang along. Even the baddest bitches bring them home with me. And here's a heads up, you can go and get the doctor. A straight shot, I hit your papa in his knickerbockers. That nigga Sauce said it's rough out there. Lil' Dime's getting live for a puff out there. And this nigga still playing the tough role, just so they can get their face placed on her brush clothes. Is it really worth it? Niggas really nervous. I'm on top of my game and I'm feeling perfect with an attitude like fuck your favorite MC unless it is me, Louis Keys, nigga. Shit. Now listen close to what I say. Louisville niggas getting killed every day. Nigga trying to get a little money every way. From the streets to the stage, trying to get paid. They hear your boy spit some heat and they all fat. They see your boy on the streets and they all fat. Monster Squad on the beat, yeah, they all fat. I might chill with a freak, yeah, I'm all fat.